Hey guys, so it's Sarah, and today I want to talk about dolphins and whales. So I'm currently reading this book, Before We Leave You. Interesting story about how I came across it. It was at a spiritual store back in my old city of Toronto, and I kept being very pulled and called to it. I kept seeing it, and it was literally like screaming at me like, read, but I was like, no, like I had a feeling like it was going to be like sad or like bring up things inside of me that I didn't want to explore yet. So I pushed it off. I would get another book by the same author that started to introduce some of the things, and after reading that book, it was Atlantis Rising, which if anybody's ever read that, you know that it kind of like wakes you up to a whole nother level of things, but it enlightens you in the way of it brings a shadow in, and then after you've integrated that shadow, you can rise above it, and this book kind of does the same thing. So I was hesitant to get it because I just knew on an intuitive level it would do the same thing. And then I was moving away from the city, and like the book title is literally Before We Leave You, and I was about to leave the city, like literally about to leave this book, so I was like, I'll get it, fine, I'll get it. I'll put my ego aside and grab this book. So I'm not finished it yet. I almost am. Just about like 30 pages left, or 30 to 50 pages left. And I was gonna wait to make this video, but then I had a dream last night, and then I was thinking, do I make this video? And then I just like looked up and I saw 333, so I was like, okay, I guess I'm making this video now. So before reading this book, I had known that dolphins were a bit more like highly evolved, and I knew that they lived in our civilizations like Atlantis and Lemuria, but I didn't know to the extent of like what they actually did. I just thought that they were highly evolved beings and they just lived in love. So what I've kind of learned from this book so far, I don't know the exact like scientific way to explain it as Patricia does in this book, but essentially these dolphins and great whales, they use sound, music, and frequency to essentially weave this frequency through the great oceans of the world, and in turn, as they're weaving this frequency, putting this incredible sound out every single day, it's raising the vibrations of the oceans as well as the planet as well. They incarnate into the physical as dolphins and whales, and they know this purpose, and they're trained from as soon as they're born to do this for Gaia. They are beings of complete and utter service. So they know what they're here for, and they constantly always do it, and they're completely dedicated to doing it because they love Gaia and they want to love everybody who exists on Gaia. So they play a very, very, very important role when they're in the physical, and not only when they're in the physical on this planet, they also exist on other planets and higher councils in their light bodies. So for example, a lot of these great whales and dolphin beings are sitting on the Syrian High Council. So they speak through this book and channeled, and even when they're not in the actual oceans, they have the ability to continue to weave the sound into the oceans. However, they enjoy the actual physical experience because Gaia is so beautiful, especially in the oceans. It's so free and joyous and happy, and just love to just swim around with your family and just weave light and love and be of service, and they love that. It's a majestic experience for them to be in the physical, as much it's majestic for us to be in the physical, as much as it's kind of hard to, I guess, fully embody that until we've gotten to like a point in our spiritual awakening where we're like, okay, like I'm actually supposed to be here. And so what I've gotten so far from these dolphins and whales, and I don't want to go too much into the lower vibrational kind of part of what they bring in, though I do need to bring it up and address it because it's critical and needs to be addressed immediately. We know that there's issues happening with the oceans right now with oil spillages, pollution, as well as like EMFs and stuff. It doesn't just affect like humans and like everything on the land, it affects the ocean. So like these big towers, they call them the killing drums. It makes dolphins and whales bleed eternally. So instead of wanting that, they then beach themselves. So they commit suicide, move on to the next plane of light where they can assist Gaia from not being in Gaia, because from it going from a place of like fantasy, it's come to like kind of like a horror scene for them. So they can't necessarily live and do their job anymore from the planet because of the human destruction. And they're kind of learning to fear humans on a collective, because why would they love us if we're killing them and putting horrible toxins into their home? And so as they're getting this collective conscious fear of humans, they can't be fully present here, because then they're going to be weaving fear instead of love. So a lot of these great whales and dolphin beings are exiting the planet right now. Some are staying, but the main message is that they still have hope. And I know, and I've seen just from talking to people, I was at coffee with my friend today, and she was talking about how much she loves the ocean and the things that she's doing to help. And I know that as a collective, we're actually making change, because I believe truly in my heart that we had to go through so much destruction of the ocean so that we knew it was a problem. Because before, we were not conscious of it. We were not aware. We had no idea of the human impact on this planet, and specifically the oceans. But now that we are aware of this, we are actively, as much as we can on an individual level, reverting this. And a lot of the great dolphins and whales do believe that we can revert the issues. They have hope and they believe us, but they know that it is up to us to do so. And I feel like bringing forth the ideas of how important these great whales and dolphins are to literally the entire planet is even more incentive for us as humans to help them in the ocean. It would be so much harder to live on this planet and live in love if it weren't for these incredible beings. Like, these are highly evolved beings who know what they're doing, who are bringing in so much love to this planet. I had a dream last night with dolphins, and essentially what happened was one like came up to my leg and it like brushed up against my leg in my dream. And I still remember this, like I felt this, and I woke up and I could still feel it. I fell to the ground in tears because of how much love and joy and freedom I felt just from this being touching me. This is how highly evolved and conscious these beings are. They can bring us all of these feelings. So if just from them brushing against my leg in that small short moment in my dream and me feeling all those incredible emotions, just imagine for a second the impact that these animals are making if they're using this advanced sound technology to weave these frequencies through the ocean. We need them. We need the dolphins. We need the whales. We need more people to be advocates of them. We need more people to stand up for them. We need more people to be in complete support of saving them and allowing them to remain on Gaia, because they want to remain here too. They want to help us. They want to truly help us. The only reason they're leaving is because we're killing them. I just truly, I was never this passionate about great whales and dolphin beings before this book. I kind of had an attraction to dolphins because of my past life in Lemuria and Atlantis, and it's just kept coming up. And then this book, it's just, ever since I've read this book, it's just like, this needs to be out there. We need to be aware of what they're doing in the most positive way and be grateful for them, and then completely change our ways of being. And this type of message needs to be more vocalized, and there needs to be more people who are reading this book. Like, if you ever see this book, Before We Leave You by Patricia Corey, read it, because it will completely change your view of these incredible beings. And there's many species of great whales and dolphins, and they're literally love, and we need to love them as much as they love us. So I just felt it was so pressing to make this video, especially after my dream, and just truly feeling the vibration of these incredible beings. And so I really hope you took something from this video. I really hope you look into more of the consciousness of the great whales and the dolphin beings. I really hope you try to meet them in meditation. They need to know that there are people out here that are aware and that love them. And this is critical and very, very important. So I really hope you took something from this video. I really hope it expanded your consciousness and made you more aware to these incredible beings. Peace.